stop my life from passing me by? I don't know. I've been thinking about family, now it's going so fast. Will I wake up one morning just wishing that I could go back? I've been thinking about lately, maybe I can make a change and let it change me. So with all of my heart, this is my prayer. Singing, oh, Lord, keep me in the moment. Help me live with my eyes wide open. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Singing, oh, Lord, show me what matters. Throw away what I'm chasing after. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Keep me in the moment. Oh, keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment. I don't wanna miss what you have for me. When I wake up in the morning, Lord, touch my heart. Don't let me stray, I just wanna stay where you are. All I got is one shot, one try, one go around in this beautiful life. Nothing is wasted when everything's placed in your hands. Singing, oh, Lord, keep me in the moment. Help me live with my eyes wide open. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Singing, oh, Lord, show me what matters. Throw away what I'm chasing after. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Keep me in the moment. Oh, keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. I've been thinking about heaven and the promise you hold. So it's all eyes on you until the day you call me home. Singing, oh, Lord, keep me in the moment. Help me live with my eyes wide open. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. I don't wanna miss, I don't wanna miss. Singing, oh, Lord, show me what matters. Throw away what I'm chasing after. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Keep me in the moment. Oh, keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment. 'Cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me.
Hello. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us in celebrating a woman we all knew and loved deeply. Many of our family joined in love at an intimate service prior and are now with us live, along with so many people across the world, and we thank you.
So I had to write this down so that I could kind of hold it together. So today we are here to celebrate a woman who personified Christ's love, a legacy she built from the impact on others she had, and the way she used her light to shine on others in their darkest moments. To some, they called her sister, the one they could always call, the one who shared their childhood memories. To some, she was auntie, someone that could bring magical moments out of ordinary things. She was a dean who always was willing to share a warm hug in a cozy office, a coworker and a friend who brought always an ear when you needed it most. She was a spiritual mentor who sometimes told you to go places and dream bigger than you even knew were possible. To my sisters, Jennifer, Julie, and I, she was mom.
The one who tucked you in at night, cheered you on with big and small dreams, held your hand with each birth, and the grandma that kids could only dream of. to the grandbabies she adored. She was many names, and she loved each one. Thank you for honoring her today, this beautiful stage and amazing reception.
I will be reading one of Auntie Jodi's favorite Bible passages, and it's going to be Matthew 5, 1 through 17, or some of them. Now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it out on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." And everybody here knows that she did that to the fullest every single day. And she encouraged every single one of us to as well.
Would you bow your heads with me as we pray? God, we come to you tonight because of your love, the love that you have given Jodi, and the love that you gave us through her. Each one of us here has a Jodi memory that brings a smile, that might bring a tear, or maybe even a little bit of frustration or more. But she let her light shine. And tonight we praise you for the good works. Lord, tonight there will be tears, there will be laughter, there'll be hope, there'll be joy. In the midst of all this, may we remember that you are her God, and that she would like nothing more than for us to be yours too. And so we give you this time, and we praise you for the life that Jodi lived in you. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pray you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
la luce che tu dai.
I pray we'll find your light
Nel cuore resterà
and hold it in our heart.
a ricordarci che
When stars go out each night,
eterna stella sei. Nella mia preghiera
let this be our prayer.
quanta fede c'è.
When shadows fill our days,
Lead us to a place.
guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe.
Sogna un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ogni alegria, ma non so vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dà
We ask that life
e il
become
desiderio che
and watch us from above.
ognuno troviamo
We hope each soul will
intorno e
find
dentro a sé.
another soul to love.
Let this be our prayer.
Let this be a prayer.
Just like every child.
Just like every child needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe. E la fede che hai accesso a noi. Sento che ci salverà.
So Sophie and I were just sitting here and talking about some of the times that we had with Grandma and kind of reminiscing. And it made me think about this one time, or I guess very many times, that we spent running up and down the halls in La Sierra and going into everyone's dorm rooms while they were gone. Their stuff was not in there. They were just empty dorm rooms.
During the summer.
Yeah, during the summer. And we kind of did musical shows and kind of put on like our own American Idol. And I pretended to be Ryan Seacrest, and she had this whole thing. And I think she filmed it once and it made it her ringtone. And I think it was her ringtone for like 5 years. And I remember I was getting older and I'd come back and was like, oh my goodness, I was a child. But she kept it on for a very long time.
I was adopted by Jean in Jodi's heart, and she never stopped to always remind me I was one of her girls. Marmee is a term I quietly used and really only shared with her. She was by me when at 14 my mother died, and when at 16 I was diagnosed with leukemia. When I graduated high school, she was there and rallied behind me to finish my bachelor's degree in social work at La Sierra. She wiped away my tears when I graduated my master's degree at Loma Linda. She exhibited true love to children at any age who needed a warm heart to lean on. That was Marmee, an open heart.
Jodi Cahill, a lady who was always thinking of others and ready with a, what can I do to help? Or I love you. You had an immense heart for someone in need. I was looking forward to a trip to the coast and a visit with you, co-grandma of mine. We both were in love with our granddaughters, Emma Elise and Sophie Grace. Now that visit will have to wait for the coastal shores on the Sea of Glass. Then we will be well as never before. Until that day, rest well, dear Jodi.
She loved her family. Her family meant everything to her. We heard stories of her grandchildren and saw pictures and what her girls were doing, you know, here and there. And it was just so nice because no matter what was going on, she always loved to share about her family. And not just her children, but also stories of her siblings, her sisters and her brothers, because she loved each one of them so much. And of course, the love of her life, Jean.
We were also talking about when we were in North Carolina, we had this great backyard and we would go back there and play with little sticks and leaves and make little houses for fairies and talk in these obnoxiously high voices pretending to be the fairies that lived in the houses, and just how fun it was and how imaginative and creative we really could be around her and how special that was.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have never used my imagination as much as I did with her.
Yeah.
So.
And what would she give you? Hugs. Jodi really cared about her people, especially her students. And she would, if there was any problem ever and no one else could solve it, Jodi could solve it. She would make it happen. We'll miss you, Auntie Jodi.
Just as a note from the family for you, if Jodi told any stories about us, please come get our version. Being around the corner at Loma Linda, I have students that would come, oh, we heard stories about you, and they tell me these stories. I'm going, no, that's not right. Thank you on behalf of the family for being here. One of my joys I get to do over at Loma Linda is I teach courses at times. And one of them is the history of Loma Linda. And I take the students out on a tour of campus. And I've learned I've seen an interesting thing happen. Nobody reads the names on the buildings. Nobody. Unless they just, oh yeah, it's Evans to go there. They don't know who Dr. Evans is. I pointed up at the names, and maybe I shouldn't if this is recorded, but of the Troches who gave $100 million to build a hospital. And I asked the students, do you know who the Troches are? And they just have this blank look. I said, wow, $100 million, and they're not looking at your name. But the fact of the matter is, what keeps our legacy alive? What helps people remember us is the stories. The stories. And we're already hearing stories, and I hope we hear more. There's a wonderful book to read, Falling Upward by Richard Rohr. And in that book, Rohr talks about our lives as we mature through life, and also about walking with God. And in it, Rohr says there's two sections of life, not two chronological halves, but two portions of life. And the first portion is building the container, and the second one is filling the container. So I want to talk about how Jodi built her container. She started out in this world in December 18, 1946, Porter's Sanitarium Hospital in Denver, Colorado, Rocky Mountain girl. She was born to my mom and dad, Dr. Bob and Mary Lou Swenson. Her siblings and their husbands are Linda and Phil Kuntz, Kathy and Bill Spetnagel, and myself and my wife, Marion. For all of our lives that I knew Jodi, we grew up on 13036 Stanbridge Avenue, Downey, California. Huh, Sherry, right next door. Hey. And that was the world. We knew everybody up and down the block. They knew us. Jodi went to Bellflower Avenue Elementary School, as did all the rest of us. Jodi went to Linwood Academy, as did the rest of us. Jodi spent some of her college career here at La Sierra, as did some of us. Her church was Bellflower Seventh Adventist Church. And that's where we grew up, learning about God and Sabbath school and the pastors. And Jodi, her first husband Tom, and her beloved husband Gene, her children, I hope I got everybody right. They asked me to do this sketch. I was the wrong person. So I'll look, and if anybody has big eyes, like, tell me who I missed. Jennifer and Matt Tyner, Julie and Caesar Lemus, Vanity and Brandon Williams. Grandchildren, Emma, Sophie, Evan, Ty, Eli. Nieces and nephews, Tracy and his wife, Cowdy, Tracy Berg. Jasmine and her husband, Sam Mendoza, the producers of my grandchildren, thank you. Mia Swenson, Crystal Swenson, and my son, Jared Swenson. Some of you don't know that Jodi's first love in her career was medicine. She should have been a doctor. She loves that stuff. My father was a doctor. They hoped I would be. I can't stand it. I said I'd never work in a medical environment, and I've been at Loma Linda University for 23 years. And I tell them, you're all weird. I love you, but you're weird. She worked in histology as a histology technician. She also did her other love of life and worked in 2 elementary systems, one the Bellflower Avenue Elementary School and Long Beach. She came here to La Sierra and became an associate chaplain before I came to Loma Linda. She became a recruiter and developer at the Zabara School of Business. She was a women's dean at Calkins, which I know there's got to be stories from that one right there. So, but that's just the container stuff of life. Aurora says what we do, who we get married, the homes, that's container stuff. Important, but not the most important. What is important that Roar would say, and I agree, is what did you fill it with? That's just the bucket, the holding for what life is about. Well, when I remember things, and I'm the youngest, which I love to say to my sisters, I'm the youngest. No matter how old I get, I'm the youngest. And I remember Jodi being involved with the youth group, that we drive up Bellflower Boulevard on a Friday night, and I got to go with my dad to drop them off, and all the cruisers, like American Graffiti, I was alive back then, I can't believe it. And we go back and forth. They'd be involved in youth. She would do things at Sabbath school and at church. But I remember, and you might not know this, Jodi had a beautiful voice. And I'd see her sing at church, but I can remember as I'm looking at you, the first time I ever heard the song, How Great Thou Art, and she sang a duet with my father. And I can still hear it to this day. Oh, she participated in her kids' school activities, Pathfinders, whether they wanted it or not, she was there at the kids' activities. And if she didn't have kids there, she'd find kids to be there for the activities because she loved kids. She was a room mother for the classes at school. She would take her siblings, her kids, their friends, her nieces and nephews on wild adventures that we parents never found out about. We heard things at our personal family one that I'm deeply traumatized, that my sister did. But I shouldn't be surprised, because if I thought of my stories, one of my favorite stories is Jodi had a VW Bug. And the old ones, they used to be watertight in the bottom. They were all sealed on the bottom. And I think she was babysitting us, and we wanted pizza. So we're driving to get pizza. Pouring rain. I remember pouring rain, sitting in the back, getting the pizza, and all of a sudden the streets were flooded and the Volkswagen started floating. And we were going wherever the water went, and I thought it was the greatest thing, and Jodi thought she was going to kill us all. Wild adventures, because life was never boring with Jodi. Can I get an amen? Jodi was a collector. Jodi collected broken pets. If you've never saw her pets, they're infamous. I really don't know what their pets' name are, but we named her pets. There was Tripod, the three-legged pocket. These were pocket poodles, I think. Tripod, the three-legged pocket poodle. One-eyed Willie. Willie had one eye. And then there was one, I can't remember the name, but this dog was the cutest little dog, and all of a sudden it'd stop and go like that and just start running into things. Boom, 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 boom. Had some kind of seizure. It's just Jodi's dogs. Yet those dogs give a deep window into her heart, because nothing would get beyond her love. Now, most of the people would have taken those dogs and probably mercifully put them to sleep, but not Jodi. They were beautiful. They were beautiful. And that went on with her caring of people too. She cared for and included broken people. She looked for them and she loved them, especially young people. When Jodi loved you, she loved you. Totally, completely, full stop. No dimmer switch with her. That love light turned on, you had it all. She literally was a person that would give you the shirt off her back, anything in her closet, anything in her purse, and go find somebody else's purse and give it to you too. That's how much she loved. And that deep love that she sought to fulfill and light up others' lives with came from knowing dark and hard times in her own life, physically and emotionally. The dark almost broke her, but she wasn't alone. Family were there, people who loved her were there, but most importantly for her, Jesus was there in that valley of darkness with his rod that protected her and the staff that guided her, and the promises of Psalm 23 became the script of Jodi's life. And just like in the psalm, Jesus was faithful to his words. He set before her a banqueting table. No, not of food and party favors, not of famous people and A-list attendees. Jodi's banquet was like the banquets Jesus says he puts on. In Matthew 22, 8 through 10, Jesus said, and the king said to his servants, excuse me, and the king said to his servants, the wedding feast is ready, and the guests I've invited aren't worthy for the honor. Now, go out to the street corners and invite everyone you see. So the servants brought in everyone they could find, good, bad alike, and the banquet hall was filled with guests. Jodi filled the banquet container of her life with the same people that Jesus sought out to fill his. The needy, the hurt, the left out, the frightened, the lonely, the broken. Jodi was an artist. Her medium was mosaics. Now, maybe you don't know what a mosaic is. A mosaic is an artwork made of a pattern or image of some and it's made with little regular or irregular or broken pieces of colored stone, glass, or ceramic. And it's held in place by plaster or mortar to cover a surface. Jodi's self-portrait of herself was created by merging the beautiful, blessed pieces of her life with the broken, painful ones. And after all, contrasts are what makes art beautiful. Jodi created other mosaic masterpieces by lovingly and gently taking the broken pieces of the lives of others, brushing the pieces off, and using the mortar of care, inclusion, faith, and the love of Jesus, helping them to reposition the pieces of their lives into a masterpiece of Christ's dream for them. That was her gift. So a personal story. When I was a little boy, I loved TV. I see my family look at me. Truth be told, I love movies. And when I'm watching a movie or a TV, thank you. When I'm watching a movie or a TV show, I'm in it. Don't mess with me. I'm immersed. I don't need surround. I've been in surround since I was a little kid. My wife, Marion, falls asleep in 2/3 of the movies we watch. She'll say, and Mia will do it too. Oh, turn the movie off. Let's go to bed. We can watch it tomorrow. No. No. That's like, I'm through eating this meal. Let's eat it for breakfast. No, you got to watch that thing. And I was like that as a kid, as a little boy. And when my mom would be out of the room, I could get within 6 feet of the TV and not worry about the radiation destroying me. I don't know, maybe mom was right. Maybe it did do something to my brain. And so there I am immersed in my TV show. And it would happen more often than not. I do not know why Jodi would pick me to do this. I'm a little kid. I'm like 5, 6, 7 years old. Don't ask me questions. I'm watching TV. But she would always pick on me to answer the same question. Terry, she'd stand up on the marble coffee table and look in the mirror. All my sisters did, okay? There was a big mirror. Anyway, picture it. And she'd be up there looking with whatever she had on. And she'd say to me, Terry, do you think I look all right? Do you think I'm beautiful? Without looking up from my TV show, I go, yes, you're beautiful. That wasn't enough for Jodi. Terry, do you really think I'm beautiful? Yes, I think I'm beautiful. No, look at me. All right. Do you think I'm beautiful? Yes, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And then it'd be quiet and I'd be about back into my show. Terry, what? Do you think I'm beautiful? On and on. One day I snapped. Evil came into me. And she asked me, with a deep concern she had for, really, what did I know about women's fashion? I'm a little kid. And I knew she's in her teens, so I knew it was important to her because all my sisters would bug me. But she asked me again. I think it was my favorite show. And she asked me again and again and again. And finally, I turned around to her and I said, I lied. You're not beautiful. You're ugly. You're ugly. And she cried and ran off in her room. And I go, yes, why didn't I do this earlier? Smug at my success of getting rid of her peskiness, I tried to settle back into my TV show, but I couldn't. I had hurt my sister. And she had always poured nothing but love into me. And I hurt her. I wish she'd asked me again. I wish she was here. And I wish she'd asked me, Terry, do you think I'm beautiful? And I would say, oh, yes, sis. You have no idea how beautiful you are. And all the beautiful mosaics. Many filling this room right now. People who thought they'd be nothing or nowhere. And now they're the who says in churches and businesses and places. Oh yes, sis, you're beautiful. And one day, when we're in heaven, one day soon, I'm going to bring them to you. And I'm going to show you just how beautiful you are. Rest well, sis, because that's going to be a big, big day.
Will there be Paris in heaven? With streets of shiny gold? With cafes and candles and cobblestone roads? And the Louvre with paintings of old? Will we visit the Eiffel Tower and ascend it higher and higher to see vistas for miles and capture our smiles atop its iconic spire? And what of the Arc de Triomphe? Will we see its eternal flame? Can we walk Sainte-Chapelle and Champs-Élysées, stand in awe in Notre Dame? It's important to know the answer, for my friend always dreamed to go. But she rests now in sleep, without ever that trip. So you see, I need to know. My dear friend, I feel awkward and nervous. I've never been here before. It's a place in the dark, without your warm spark. But I need you to know that I care. For you journeyed along beside me, and I journeyed beside you too. And we sheltered each other in times of distress, because that's what true friends do. And we reveled in each other's families, our kids and grandkids, our true joy. As your bookcase attests, each grandchild was the best. You gave full love for each girl and boy. And I witnessed the strength of your light and saw what came from your soul, how you loved with abandon midst the chaos and blur, and brought hope where you could to your fold. Now, I miss your warm hugs and chatter. The most generous person I know, how you always kept going in spite of it all, loved and brightened wherever you'd go. We were partners in crime together. You forgave, and as quick, forgot. You encouraged and cheered, not just me, but so many, and displayed the handiwork of God. You lit a bright light in others, encouraged and fanned their flames. You've been a safe place for the shy and afraid, and with little or no acclaim. Yet with all the impact you had, and all the ways you gave, I hope I was there in your hour of need and helped you to feel God's love. And now, the song pauses. A deep breath rests in your soul. But the tune is so deep that we feel it still, echoing through our minds as we go. For God's faithfulness truly is great, and he saves that place in the song, marks the spot with his heart, and longs for the day when he will breathe the song back into your sleeping lungs. On your desk, there's a small Eiffel Tower you had wrapped in tiny lights It reflected that sparkle that glowed from within you and kindled your dreams in the night. We had schemed to see if we could travel to the land where Paris resides, to recruit from abroad our program to laud. But alas, 'twas not ours to decide. So, dear friends, I ask you again, will Paris be there in heaven? For my friend, she deserves her dream fulfilled and her heart's desire to be given. If it will or will not be there, I suppose we can't know in this rhyme. But forever is ours. We shall visit the stars and tour with no ending of time. Eye has not seen nor ear heard, neither has entered into the heart of man the things that God has prepared for them that love him.
I probably would not have attended La Sierra University if it wasn't for Jodi Cahill. I inquired about the business graduate program, and Jodi was the person who contacted me. I was working full-time and hesitant about going back to school. She said she would be available to me every step of the way, and she definitely kept her word. We kept in contact periodically after I graduated, and when I reached out to her about my son wanting to attend La Sierra University, I didn't hear back from her right away, which I thought was a little odd. I found out she had passed away soon thereafter. I'll really miss Jodi. I'll miss her thoughtfulness and her kindness, but I look forward to seeing her again in the earth made new.
Hello, I just want to take this time to acknowledge how special Jodi was for everyone and how impactful her career was in my life, and that she'll always have a spot in my heart and in my memories.
It was 1997. I had just come back from a year spent in Japan as a student missionary. I was heading over to Steve Daly's office to pop in and just to let them know that I had come back safely. I was expecting to see sweet, soft-spoken Melanie. But as I was approaching the office, I was still halfway down the hall when I kind of felt like there was something different. I could smell this sweet, potpourri kind of scent wafting down the hall. And when I popped my head in, the office didn't look the same. There were throw pillows, there were knickknacks everywhere. It had this fall pumpkin theme. I think I remember seeing a Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy dolls sitting on top of one of the cabinets, and bustling inside the small front office was this reddish, spiky-haired, blonde-haired lady. So I kind of peeked in and I kind of half whispered, "Melanie?" I was wondering if I was in the wrong office. Then the lady turned around and gave me this 1,000,000-watt smile and so nonchalantly said, "Oh, hi, I'm Jodi." I could barely eke out my name and that I would just come from Japan. When she came over, walked across that room, gave me the first of many, many Jodi hugs that I've grown to look forward to and think as part of my college experience. I don't think Jodi ever knew that afternoon meeting felt like God's gentle whisper telling me that I had come home. In the weeks that followed, as we started talking and getting to know each other, Jodi started to see a pattern in all of the kids that were coming home from their various missions abroad. And there was this kind of look in our eyes that kind of said, "Help! What am I doing here? Where am I supposed to go next?" And for all of us, or for not maybe all of us, but most of us, this was our first year spent abroad, living in the quote-unquote real world, taking on adult responsibilities. Some of us ran schools. Some of us were on church board meetings and had to meet dignitaries. Others were had to be speakers at various functions. And so these responsibilities were real world jobs, and we had to take those responsibilities quite seriously. And now coming back to school felt mundane, and a lot of us had that sense of emptiness, like after the adrenaline rush, what now? People around us kind of got tired of hearing about that one time we had to walk 10 miles across, to meet another church from another village, or that one time that we were stuck on an island for a week because there was a typhoon raging around, or that one time I got dengue, or the one time my friend did this and that or this. And so after a while, our magical year abroad started to feel like a hazy dream. And that was quite disheartening. So we all trickled into the chaplain's office, seeking ways to connect with others, hoping to find something to do or someone to talk to. And Jodi was there. She listened and she prayed with us. And then she listened some more. And then she laughed with us. And then she listened some more and cried with us. Soon we moved from our stories of our year abroad into concerns about our future, our love lives, our graduation plans, finding jobs. And her advice was always simple. Listen to what God has to tell you. He loves you and he has a plan. Follow your passion because that's him speaking to you. And look around you. See if someone can use your friendship or your smile. And this was the most important thing that I remember and that I took home from my talks with Jodi. Your mission is not over. Your mission is wherever you are. Be the light and bring Jesus' love wherever you go.
I remember one distinct memory I have of Jodi was right after my mom passed last year. She called me and I wasn't able to answer the phone at the time. So she left me a voicemail that I actually still have to this day. It was very comforting words. It was words that, I felt my own mom's voice through her, as well as my own grandma's voice. And at that point in time, that was something that I really needed to hear.
One of the first impressions that I thought of Jodi was that she was a little bit crazy all over the place. But once I got to know her a lot more, I realized that craziness was orchestrating something. She was always involved with someone, something, building relationships all across the school business, all across Riverside. That's something I'll never forget. She definitely had the talent, the gift of building relationships. And like many people have or will probably mention, she was also great at encouraging others, at seeing the potential that people have within themselves before they even realize it.
To know Jodi is to love Jodi, and to ever have been on campus during the early 2000s and not know who Jodi Cahill was, then you did not know La Sierra University, because Jodi is La Sierra University.
Jodi often reflected the character of what a true Christian should be. She fed me emotionally, spiritually. She nourished my young heart over loss and pain, and she relished in joy at my small accomplishments.
Whenever we needed her, and even when we thought we didn't, Jodi was our matchmaker. She was our pregnancy test. We weren't the only ones who got those phone calls. She could draw out our true identity and true purpose when no one else could. She would find the shyest person in the room and help them find their voice. She never gave up on us. She was our mom. And even now, she is the one best able to bring all of us together. Let's remember her and the calls to action that she charged each of us and all of us with.
Well, as we all know,
The world, the campus of La Sierra University, as well as the sanctuary of La Sierra University Church, is darker this afternoon because of the absence of Jodi Cahill. But, as we all know, her legacy lives on. At the very start of my remarks, I want to acknowledge a few names. Were it not for the understanding and generosity of Dean John Thomas of the Zipporah School of Business, Jodi would not have had a full salary, particularly during her last several months of decreasing ability. Throughout her service at La Sierra University, Jodi had no truer friend or supportive companion than Heather Miller, from whom we have heard. I owe her and Gary Chartier sincere thanks for their assistance in helping me prepare these remarks. A Californian at heart, Jodi studied microbiology at La Sierra College from 1964 to 1967, finishing her BS in microbiology from UCLA in 1969. She also studied law at Western State College of Law during the 1987-88 school year. Before coming to La Sierra, she had also worked as a number of years as a pathology lab technician, as well as for an advertising agency and for a school in the South Coast area. And just before coming to La Sierra, she served as a secretary in the Southern California Conference in Glendale. Jodi began working at La Sierra University in the fall of 1997 while I was president, initially serving as assistant to the chaplain and then his associate. In 2001, she started the campus's very popular home-based ministry that attracted well over 100 students each year to serve in various ways in local churches and on campus. She had an amazing knack for building a team to engage in ministry that would be immensely loyal to her. She would meet a kid on campus, and overnight she had talked them into serving, and then would be part of a team delivering programming at area churches. And I can tell several of you were those people. She was absolutely terrific at mobilizing and engaging current and potential students. At the Zipporah School of Business, starting in 2006, she helped build and recruit for the school's extended degree programs, accepting responsibility for business development and serving as an enrollment counselor for many mature students who welcomed her understanding and support. She also worked part-time for a year or two in the university's enrollment services department because of her natural ability to inspire and attract students. In addition to these full-time duties, for several years, Jodi and Jean lived in Calkins Hall, where she voluntarily served as a women's dean. It was clear that as a participant in the university's residential life program, she understood her role as an exercise in ministry, seeking not only to respond with love and trust to God herself, but also to share God's love with our students. Never shy about engaging with students regarding their problems, deeply opening to nurturing students, and intuitively grasping what students needed, she gave unstintingly of her time, remaining in her office as late as was needed. Unsurprisingly, she was able to function on very little sleep and managed, sometimes Dean of Students Sue Curtis reports, to look her best even without sleep. She was a loyal and a team player, someone who consistently supported her colleagues. She added zest and vitality to residence hall life, and while was always open to helping with any university-related project, keenly perceptive, she could unerringly recognize lies when she heard them. And Dean Curtis emphasizes she was still kind. During the early 2000s, Jodi also served as a Sam Walton Fellow for La Sierra University's Enactus program then Students in Free Enterprise, from about 2001 to 2011, where she mentioned and mentored championship SIFE teams from our campus. Throughout her years at La Sierra, she was also very involved in local community activities, notably as a programmer for the City of Riverside's International Visitors Program under the supervision of the U.S. State Department, and as the organizer of the Crystal Hearts Awards program in 2004. She loved her work with the International Visitors Program and took great pride as a programmer for various groups that came to Riverside, lining up visits that suited each group's interests well, showing off the best of Riverside, and always showcasing and involving La Sierra University students. I was told by the mayor that the State Department was so impressed with Jodi's responsiveness that they purposely routed overseas visitors and diplomats through Riverside because they knew they could count on her. Jodi will be remembered for her enormous generosity and how she poured herself into others' lives, those of her family members and of hundreds of students, for many of whom she was their second mom. She could attract donations of any kind from the local community in no time at all, and she had a special talent for reading people. She seemed to know everyone wherever she went, and those she just met would immediately recognize that she cared for them. She always stood up for those in need. She helped shape a generation of students who are now embodying La Sierra's values in their personal and professional lives because of her guidance, persistence, and wisdom. And I see several of you here, and how proud she is of all of you. Then too, Jodi served as a La Sierra University church elder for many years. As an elder, she shared God's love by visiting people in the hospital, reaching out to students and others in need, participating in calling honor-bound members, and bringing communion to homebound members as well. She was also one of the Sabbath School programmers for Destination Sabbath School and would very often invite student groups to discuss their activities. Early on in her time at La Sierra, when she was associate chaplain, she participated in the university church's staff meetings, along with the chaplain, as part of the campus pastoral team, something that I still recall hearing her say produced frequent, quite animated discussions. And I'm sure that Pastor Sam here tonight remembers that. Jodi consistently exhibited a warmth and a care that informed her activities on and off campus. And she welcomed and celebrated God's grace. She loved anything about grace, anything about lifting up Jesus. She was remarkably gifted at encouragement, offering hugs and supportive messages at any opportunity she could take. As a result, it's not surprising that Jodi was honored with a wide range of awards. Home-Based Ministries was recognized in 2003 by the Del Rosa Adventist Church for its service to the church's inner-city youth program. Students in Free Enterprise honored her from 2001 to 11 as a Sam Walton Free Enterprise Fellow, and she served in this role in particular for the World Championship teams of 2002 and 2007. In 2007, Riverside Mayor Ron Loveridge presented her with a formal statement of appreciation for her service in connection with the celebration of the 50th anniversary of Riverside's sister city in Sendai, Japan. She was named Rotarian of the Year for 2008-09 by the Arlington Rotary Club. And the Adventist Student Personnel Association recognized her for excellence in service to the organization in 2015. Riverside's International Relations Council honored her in 2017 for, quote, devotion to local and global peace building. Jodi worked tirelessly for many years, often to her own detriment, helping students in the SIFE Common Actus program achieve their goals in the team's projects, supporting them in diverse ways, garnering many in-kind donations from local businesses to support the team's projects, and believing in and pushing them to grow and to achieve in light of what she realized they could become. She consistently and joyously nourished personal relationships with students in multiple levels. She kept on file the cell phone numbers of every MBA student she assisted and shared her own number with her students. She checked in on them at regular intervals and whenever she felt prompted to do so. She offered each one a safe space, and she had a gift for finding the place of deep need in people, getting them to bare their souls to her, and then bringing God's healing grace to that spot and helping them mend their lives. She never shied away from difficult conversations. Indeed, she often was drawn to them. And it was often in these places where she was at her best in participating in God's creative and redemptive work with people. The outpouring of love for her that has come from so many people since her death is evidence of that. And we can think of this as the much belated recognition that she so richly deserved. My own experience with Jodi is matched by that of so many others of you here to pay her tribute this afternoon. Let me share with you a few of the things people have written about or to her in the weeks since her death. One person said, "She loved me instantly. She cared for me as if I were her own. She saw me. She knew me by name. She listened to me. She encouraged me. She pushed me to be bold, confident, and courageous. She gave me an opportunity to shine, to grow, to lead, and to serve. Her love knew no boundaries, no time zones, no distance in days, weeks, months, or years. She was carefully and beautifully crafted by God to be one of a kind. Her love, wisdom, laughter, smile, and hugs will forever be cherished. She lived her life with passion, commitment, dedication, determination, gratitude, and compassion. I hope that my life can leave a handprint of God, a footprint of service, and a heartprint of love in the lives of those I come in contact with, just like Jodi did for me and so many others." Another one says, "You are one of the kindest, sweetest, most selfless people I know. Working with you was a delight. You encouraged me so much never to give up." Yet another says, "Jodi was one of the most unorthodox people I know. That's why I loved her so much. She saw things in people that no one else could and spoke inspirationally to get them to do ministry. Home base was where I grew up. It's where I made lifelong friends and new family. Jodi brought us all together." And yet another, "Your love, your care, your support and advice, your example and joy, I can't thank you enough for all that you did for me. Thank you for believing in me. You left an imprint of God in my heart." Another says, "Thank you for everything you did for me in college and beyond. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for you and the faith that you had in me. You were always there for me. Thank you for pushing me and seeing the potential I had for ministry. I love you always." And one more, "Your devotion to God and to those you love is unmatched. Your care reached beyond measure. You shaped me into the person I am today. I love you always and will forever spend my life trying to live out the goodness that you gave to us and saw in me." Well, many more such tributes have been received since Jodi's passing. They help us understand the impact of one life dedicated to God and the service of people can have when it throws itself into the furrow of the world's needs. Yes, La Sierra University Church, and the city of Riverside will miss Jodi because she was one of a kind in both limitless love and selfless service. I myself will miss her hugs and encouraging notes. How we look forward to resurrection morning. We'll know where she is because of the thankful crowds pressing in around her. So come, Lord Jesus.
You were broken, yet you never hid the parts of your sorrow that left scars on your heart and body. Those scars were not sentences, but reminders of survival, strength, and grace. You embraced the broken, simply giving all you had. Wrapping a non-judgmental blanket of comfort to those who needed a safe space, a warm touch, a listening ear. Feeding the ones who needed food for the soul, building community over soup and bread with people who did not look like they belonged. You were loved by the broken because you never focused on their brokenness. You held a lot of broken people being available to those who were in the midst of chaos or just beginning to dream or learning how to fly. You celebrated the broken, weaving through the world with a new sense of freedom that love gifted you, rekindling a fire that never blew out within you, being a light that would light others. Each young person you encountered saw a picture of God in a crazy, passionate woman that helped us chase after God in our dreams in a wild and unconventional way. You were real, warm, yet fierce, and untamed for all the right reasons. Your God was the God of the broken, broken for us and broken with us. May your God be our God too. May we never hide our brokenness, but to let God fill it.
Dean Jodi Cahill was somebody who had a lot of kindness and love for people.
I worked with Jodi for over a year, and Jodi is one of the most loving, kindest, and warmest person I've ever met in my life.
Jodi Cahill was awesome. I mean, she was not mom, she was moms, M-O-M-Z. Right? Because she became like my second mom, but she was also a cool motherly mentor. I mean, she is the reason why I started working in the missions department. She's the reason why I went out as a missionary. I was very comfortable in America, and she told me, no, you got to get out there. You got to go. It'll change your life.
When I think of Jodi, I think of someone who was a very positive influence in my life. She was always there to help me and my sister Tara out when we were in times of need, and just was overall a comforting presence for us.
And I was so blessed to know Jodi at La Sierra University through student missions and also helping develop home base with some of the other students as well. And Jodi was a friend and a mentor to me. And God showed his great love through her in my life by the way she accepted me, listened to me, walked me through my darkest times. Not only utilized the good things that God put in her life and the blessings and her giftedness, but also the broken areas of her life. And it let me know that God could redeem anyone and take anyone's life and take ashes and create beauty out of it.
When she believed in something or had a passion for something, she would actually tell it as if it was gospel truth.
She was always pushing me, and she believed in me. Even like trying to like get a job when I was graduating, she was there helping me out. So
I think for Jodi, it's just her nature. Her nature is just to be kind, to be caring, to be loving to everybody that comes across her, you know.
One day I was at home and I got a text message, and it went something like this. It said, "Armand, we are very happy to have you at the ZSB. You have made big waves since joining, and you're a valuable member of our team." And I didn't know who that was from because I didn't have that person in my contact list. So I wrote back a message saying, "Thank you so much for these words of affirmation and encouragement, but may I ask who you are, because I don't happen to have you in my contact list." And then the message I got back was, "Armand, this is Jodi." So I was really touched by that, you know, for her to take the time and effort to reach out and give me those words of encouragement. It was really meaningful.
I was depressed for one day, and she would just, because she has the gift of discernment, she would just like, "Hey, are you all right?" You know, and she would just speak, and, you know, a lot of us on the receiving end of her ministry, she would just like, you know, she had empathy for you. And so like she would talk it out with you and stay, you know, as long as, you know, I would let her, and we would talk about the issue at hand. You know, I was like, wow, you know, I want to be like that.
She did so many wonderful things in my life, but there's one little thing that she did that made such a great impact. When I was an assistant chaplain at La Sierra University, I remember we're at this event and somebody comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, so what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I kind of stumbled over it, you know, like I'm one of the, I'm part of the, I'm one of the chaplains here at the university." So the person says, "Okay," and they walk away, and Jodi comes right to me and she says, "You are a chaplain. Be confident, Donnie. That is what God has called you to do." And that's what Jodi did. That's what she did. She spoke confidence into my calling. So I try to embody that, try to live that out every day, and I try to carry on her legacy by speaking confidence into others, letting others know that they are called. That's just the great, awesome person that Jodi was.
She really pushed me. She made me grow as a person, as a leader, and I will always be forever grateful to Jodi for that.
La Sierra was a better place because Jodi Cahill made it that way.
So to her family, you're my prayers and my thoughts. I love you. Thank you for lending her to us for the time that we had her. And may God bless us as we wait for his soon return so that we may see and hug and love on Jodi once again.
So my condolences, prayers of love and comfort to her friends, family, and loved ones. And Jodi, I will miss forever, and she will always be in my heart.
Jodi Cahill. There are no words or group of words in the human vernacular that can fully describe Jodi Cahill. Jodi, crazy. Crazy. Did I say crazy? Crazy. Outspoken. Impulsive Jodi. I was talking with Jesse Seibel just a couple days ago. Oh, it was probably today even. We mentioned it again. The first encounter we had with Jodi, it was in the late 1900s. We happened to found ourselves at this gathering of young adults on campus. They called it Rendezvous, spelled rendezvous. And Jodi was talking, and the girl was fire, man. Yo, she was fire. She got so excited, she went into a prayer and just went into, man, almost Pentecostal style. She got so fired up, Lord, we need you more than now. The world has gone crazy. And then she gets to this part in her prayer where she says, God, this world is full of she said things I can't say right now. But y'all know what she said. Play it out in your head. Jodi said that up front. It was that moment I was like, I'm following that lady. That's my pastor right there. Impulsive, crazy, Jodi. She was funny and fun. She could give it as hard as she can take it. I'm about to start sharing with you guys a little bit. I'm overshared because, Jodi and I have a tight relationship. And these are stories that Jodi and I can no longer keep between us because Jodi's not here. So I'm going to share with you guys, and it's an overshare. God bless you all. Don't judge me when you leave. During our birthdays, we would do weird stuff. One time, my brother and I and a bunch of the guys from home base, we all went out and had dinner for Jodi's birthday without Jodi. Took pictures, sent it to her, said, happy birthday, Jodi. She texts back, you guys are cruel, rude. And she'd do stuff back on my birthday. My birthday comes first, is in October. Hers comes up very soon here in about a month. And so she'd get hellacious gifts for us, just foolish things nobody wanted ever. This one year on her birthday, I called up the boys from the home base. I said, hey guys, let's go get Jodi and Jean some intimate things. Make sure it's seasonal because Christmas is coming, Make it good. Later on that afternoon, we got together after everyone scoured for resources across Riverside, including that place right next to Brandon's. Oh, some of you been there. All right, God bless you. Praise the Lord. We got this bag and we put the goodies in there. Little stuff here, little stuff there. We take it over to Jodi's house. We knock on her, and we start caroling to her. Jodi was like, what are you guys doing? And Jean had a tough time hearing. You all knew Jean. What is that outside? Honey, who are those people? It's icky. Son, what are you doing here? I said, hey, Jodi, we came for your birthday, and for Christmas, we're going to sing to you. Happy birthday to you. She said, this is beautiful. You guys are awesome. Come in. So we came in, and we said, we got you a gift. And she said, oh, this is great. And Gene now is like trying to make his way over. He's like, what's going on? He's sitting down, and he's looking in, and Jodi pulls out these things, and she's like, oh my. Jodi turned like Rudolph, just went red. I said, keep going. She's like, oh. And Jean's like, oh, what is that? Don't worry, Jean, don't worry about this. She gets in the bag and then she pulls out this, oh, what is this? And she opens it up, and she's lathering it. So she's like, oh, it smells like chocolate. Yeah, that tastes like chocolate. We said, yeah, it's called body paint, Jodi. She's like, what? Why would you buy this? Happy birthday, Jodi. And Jean's on the side, what is that? Can I eat it? She's like, She puts it down. We start laughing for the rest of the night. Keep bringing up the body paint. A week later, Jodi's in the office and she says, Iki, can I see you in my office? I was like, oh snap, Jean done left her. Coming to the office, she says, sit down. She's sitting across the table. She says, look me in the eyes, sit down. So I sat down and she says, look me in the eyes. So I looked her in the eyes. She says, Iki, I want to thank you. For what, Jodi? Apparently Jodi thought I was the one who put this whole thing together. She says, look me in the eyes. I want to thank you. I said, for what, Jodi? For what happened? She says, Gene and I, we've used all the body paint. Jesus. What? What? That is inhuman. What is wrong with you? She starts laughing. Ah! She says, I don't ever want you to forget this moment in your life. Ever. I'm still going to counseling for this, people. She could give it as good as she could take it. She was funny and she was fun. Jodi was ever mothering, always protective, fiercely bold, and very much human. Jodi's light was great not because she knew she produced light, but because she knew she could only reflect the light of Jesus. She didn't take the responsibility to be the source of light. She was thankful just to be able to reflect the light. She wasn't a famous pastor or a brilliant theologian. She wasn't some great affluent contributor or some Adventist influencer. No, not Jodi. Much like the Samaritan woman, Jodi was misunderstood. Sometimes she was talked about by those around her. Others would give her a side eye. She was not always respected, but her encounter with Jesus was so inoculating that it became infectious to everyone around. You couldn't stop Jodi. She was like a virus. Too soon? Sorry, my bad. She was a whirlwind, just as big as life. I mean, I just believe that in heaven, Gina's gonna have a special crown. This man was always sucked right up into her whirlwind of life. We were on a trip once, and on the trip, I started scratching and had these little circular like things on me, and everybody on the trip immediately left me completely. They were like, unclean, unclean. Jodi comes and says, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm itchy. Jodi got these little circle things. She's like, oh, that's ringworm. Don't worry, I've had it. You'll be fine around me. She goes, Gene. Gene's like, what? What? Gene, come here. Gene's come over and she's like, don't worry, my husband is a pathologist or a virologist. He has something to do with like this, right? She's like, Gene, I need you to write a prescription for Icky right now. He's like, what? She's like, right now, write him a prescription and we'll just go and cash it in. He's like, but we're not even home. She's like, don't worry about it, they'll take it. That poor Gene. He had no idea. I could ever imagine Gene and has a child saying, one day I'm gonna marry this woman who's gonna drag me around the world. She was a whirlwind. She was powerful, and she was committed to the love of Jesus. From her encounter with Jesus, Jodi ran back as a Samaritan would, not to be a comfortable Christian, but to start seeking out people who weren't part of the religious elite. Not the cool Christians, not the Orthodox followers. No, that wasn't Jodi's path at all. She went back to the village of the others, of those that may not seem at first sight to be Christian enough or Adventist enough or believer enough. That's who she went back for, because she knew that with all of her broken pieces, Jesus knew her. She knew that with all of her broken pieces, Jesus loved her. She knew that with all of her broken pieces, Jesus still called her. And if God could call her and love her, that maybe he felt this way about the others as well. Those who were part of her proverbial tribe, the ones who understand her circumstances in life. So it was God's light shimmering off of all of her broken pieces that created this kaleidoscopic array of wonder that drew all of us into Jodi. She was authentic, transparent, imperfect, and in love with Jesus. we were all drawn in. We were all drawn into her because God made a glimmering reflection of beauty out of all her pieces. This deep, deep Jodi, this beautiful, gracious light that shone from her, it gives us a hope that if God could love her and see her as irresistible and can use her, that maybe she was right about us the whole time too. That maybe God found us irresistible as well. That maybe God could use us in a mighty way as well. And so Jodi called people to Jesus. She used her personal finances when she had to. She spent all of her waking hours if she had to. She gave of herself emotionally. She befriended. She befriended. She would hug you to death, Jodi would. Frontal hug. Full on open frontal hug, not that side Christian hug that we all like to do. Just come in here, no personal space. I'm going to squeeze you into my mama arms to death, Jodi hug. She called us. She called you. She called you Jesse, and Arby, and Lillian, and Arnie. She called you Larry. She called you. She called you John, high as a kite on her couch. John told me a story when he walked in. He says, you know I'm a pastor. I just want to tell you right now, I was high as a kite on Jodi's couch. And Jodi said to me, you're going to be a pastor. And I was like, what? The man is a pastor now. Working, doctoral candidate right now. Jodi calls. She calls all of us. She called the partiers and the clubbers. She called the illegal immigrants. She called straight students, gay students, lesbians, and yes, our transgender students as well. She called our conservative students, our liberal students, our progressive students. She called our broke students and our wealthy students. And tonight, no one need mourn in the shadow of the night when she spent her whole life celebrating us fully and wholly. So you walk away from here with your head up high. Whatever your story be. And know that Jodi called you as you were. This refracting life of Jesus beaming through her soul called to each of us to reach for something greater than the moments that we were all living in. All of us. She knew that she hadn't figured it all out, and maybe that was the most infectious part about Jodi's life. That while in the midst of her own wrestling, that she was completely sure that Jesus loved her and wanted to use her. And as he did, the church, even if only for a small moment, became the most irresistible and beautiful place for all of us. This church would be a much better church with more Jodi Cahills. This world would be a kinder place if we all were just a little bit more like Jodi. So leave tonight celebrating the light that was refracted from the heart of Jodi to you. A few days before Jodi passed, she called me. Some of you may not know, Jodi and I talk a lot. She called me, she said, Icky, I'm coming out to Glendale. I said, yeah? She said, yes, son, I'm coming out. I'm going to go stop into a Glendale hospital. Jodi's always got some kind of scheme. I don't know if you know that. I've got this project. It's going to be amazing. And so I'm going to go there and I'm going to talk to them and we're going to start an MBA program there. And would you want to come help me? I was like, sure, Jodi, yes. What? She says, yeah. So I'm going to be there in Glendale. I'm coming out in a couple days. I said, okay, let's go. Let's have lunch. She said, yes. It's been a while since we've sat down and ate together, and I just want to share some stuff because, it's been tough. I said, has it? How tough has it been, Jodi? She said, it's okay. And I said, no. How tough has it been? She said, it's been really tough. She said, son, let me ask you something. I said, yeah, ask away. Have I ever made a difference? I feel like I haven't. You think what I do matters? I'm sitting in the conference office as a conference official. This little immigrant boy who was in the bushes one day, and this crazy little white lady with her tripod dog says to me, hey, what are you doing? I said, I don't know, I'm climbing the fence. And she said, no, you're gonna go to school here and you're gonna become a minister. And I said, oh no, lady, little white lady, no. Please help your dog. What's wrong with it? No, you will start and you will. I said, no, that's not gonna happen. A week later, I am in school at La Sierra University doing ministry. She's talking to me. Do you think I make a difference? I didn't want to preach. When we would go do little skits and stuff, Donovan, when we started going, Donovan would preach because I was like, Donovan, your dad is a minister. You preach. She sat me down. Icky, you got to preach. I don't want to preach. She said, you got to preach. You got a story to tell. You got to preach. My first sermon was horrible. She came up to me. She said, that's the best sermon I've ever heard. You liar. I disgraced my family up there. What's wrong with you? She's talking to me. Icky, do I make a difference? This woman stood beside me when no one recognized who I was. She stood beside me when I graduated. She stood beside me in my wedding. She stood beside me at my ordination. She stood beside me at every major role in my life. And if Jodi could get there, she would be there. And so her question in my mind is echoing through my spirit. Did I make a difference? And I said to her, Jodi, yes, if only to me. Yes, if only to one, but not only for this one, for us all. Jodi's light made a difference in this cold, dark world. As her light flickers cool in the eve, I pray that you would be the ones bold enough to lift your candles in the honor of Jodi and begin the work of reflecting the light of Jesus brighter so that those who are thirsty will find the water that will make them thirst no more.
In a time for war, peace. In a time for doubt, just believe. Yeah, there ain't that much difference between you and me. In a time for war, peace. In a world full of hate, be light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine in a world full of hate, be light. In a place that needs a change, make a difference. In a time for noise, just listen. 'Cause life is better breathed, better live it. In a place that needs a change, make a difference. In a world full of hate, be alive. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Oh, don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be alive. In a race that you can't win, slow it down. Yeah, you only got one go round. 'Cause the finish line is 6 feet in the ground. In a race you can't win, slow it down. In a world full of hate, be alive. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Oh, don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be alive. It's hard to live in color when you just see black and white. In a world full of hate, be alive.
My mom loved a celebration. Extrovert, introvert here, so come over here, please. I need to hold on to you. But she would have loved today. But I just wanted to just take a moment to thank so many people who have been there for me and my sisters and our family. I just want to really, really thank someone who's been like I'll say uncle to me. Johnny Thomas, I mean, you were the same to me as my mom was to so many. And you loved her, and I thank you for that. Oh. Can you do your Dondies thing right now to make me laugh? I've been watching his social media quite a bit. Right. Your positivity is like really great.
I'm shooting it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I got it back together. Heather and Gary, I mean, you've been in my life since 1991 when I graduated La Sierra. Heather, I know is a pill working for you. I apologize for that. She still loved me. And Loveland, you guys just did so much. And Kevin, who put together the video montage, I thank him. You know, and I want to thank the La Sierra Church and Pastor Devo. I mean, there's been so much support. Natan, thank you, brother. I don't know, you've been running around here capturing this for us, and and then also thank you, Ken Kahn, because I know you made those samosas for me. That's my comfort food, and they did not go unnoticed. But also the home base team, my goodness. I had to, we decided we wanted them to be a huge part of tonight, because honestly, the time at La Sierra was when my mom, that just shone, that was her experience here changed her life. You guys changed her life. I was probably the dimmer switch. So there was one. But I pulled them together and we had this Zoom call, and that's when I broke down and they were there for me. Arnie and Lillian, my goodness, you guys are organized. And Linda, just all of you, Ben, Monty, everybody who was on that call. I know I'm gonna forget someone, I'm so sorry. But, you know, and Shilhai and Rolando, would this not be going home and become mom's bedroom? So, I can't even, this is insane. And then also, you know, Uncle Terry, I made you do this, thank you. And Dr. Garrity and Icky, thank you for being the star. Now I have to come up and... I can't do it, so you're going to do that. She, more than celebration, she loved everyone in this room. And today has been such a gift to me personally and to my family. I mean, it's reunited family. People I haven't seen for so long. People I haven't seen since COVID. It's reunited, like all of you. Last year has been a part of our lives since I arrived here in 1987. My mom forced me to go to La Sierra. But it was an amazing experience, changed my life. Funny story about my mom. She wouldn't let me go on a mission trip.
You're kidding.
No. I finished my freshman year. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Went home, told her I was going to be an art major and was going to Kenya. No. So I don't get where all of you got this calling. I remember you being high on the couch. I did not. I've been bitter all my life because I have not had a calling. She never told me what to do. Well, she tried to tell me what to do. I didn't listen. So probably my bad. But I mean, I learned a lot about my mom. I didn't know she went to AUS. That was where I went to grade school, and my oldest friend, my first friend, is here tonight, who came all the way. And then many of the Pathfinders, who we all could tell you the real story of Pathfinders, are here. I love you guys for coming. Shannon told me this morning, I don't even know what time it is, when she got here, is that Jodi colored with all the crayons, that even the beige crayon, the one that's broken. And it hit me, and I'm like, this whole event has been the reflection of all the crayons. She got everyone involved in everything, and you've heard it all. I won't repeat it all, but I wanted to share with you as a close a poem she gave. She did inspire my love for literature, and she gave me this poem a couple months ago as I was going through some things, and I'm just going to read it. As the light creeps in, I wake up to another beautiful unknown day that is all mine to form into whatever I wish and make it happen. I can comply by the everyday rules, or I can make up my own rules. Do I have the right to do that? Of course I do. If I am not in alignment with myself first, then how on earth is anyone going to get through to me? See, dimmer switch right there. Understand you are the light, and what you want to achieve, you will. Become radical and change your world. Am I radical? Of course I am. The unknown is the challenge. Go for it. You never know what the outcome will be until you try it. And only you can do that. Don't you forget. It's all about you first and then the outside world. Let go of all those inner insecurities. Nobody knows what's going on inside of you until you tell them. And don't forget, there are no mistakes, and you are the only one that thinks there are. Understand you are the light. Tonight we want you all to know two things, take away two things. The first is that, and this is also from many of the home-based team, the first is that we don't want Jodi's light to leave. And so we wanted to let everyone know that her family and the School of Business here at La Sierra and the home-based ministry alumni have created an endowment for La Sierra because she changed the world for so many students here, and she believed in so many, and we want to make sure that legacy goes on to the students who are yet to come for Van's kids, as well as so many, that we can honor her legacy of helping students find their calling, their passions, and how to serve God in this world. And so La Sierra will be holding a special day of giving, and we hope that you will help us reach our goal to make sure that students, like many of you, have the opportunity to be amazing people. You truly are amazing people. And then also, we wanted to make sure that each of you continue to carry on the light that she's passed on to you. And so we've handed out these little lights, and I don't know if you could do one thing for all of us, is if you could turn on your light. And we're going to do something together. If you could stand with us. First of all, we're going to ask you to sing with us. And he's going to lead out because I cannot sing either. We're going to sing a song, but I'd like to ask that you could turn around, because I'd like to have a picture for me and my sisters of this event, because all of you mean so much, and we're going to take a photo of everyone as we sing This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Yeah, I hope that you could take this and remember my mom, and remember that she believed in me, every single one of you.
Amen. And as we close with prayer, I want to make a special request. Don't turn this light off. When you go home, put it somewhere. Keep it on. Jodi's light does not go out. Make sure you keep your light on. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for giving us the gift of Jodi Cahill. We thank you for that light that both was illuminating and warming. She was a spark that lit our flames, and those flames will continue in our hearts, in our minds, in our lives. And so as we leave from this place, but never from your presence, continue by your power and by your Spirit to help us live out that legacy, to let our light shine all around the neighborhood, unhidden throughout this entire world. Let us shine for each other, and let us shine for those that you will lead to us that we may have never met before. Let us embrace, let us shine, let us glow for you. Be with each and every one of us as we leave this place and this space. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you all for coming, and there is still a ton of food in the reception area if you'd like to grab some before you head out.
You did it. You did it. You did that.
There is a candle in every soul, some brightly burning and some dark and cold. And there is a spirit who brings a fire ignites a candle and makes his home. Carry your candle and run to the darkness. Seek out the helpless, confused and torn, and hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle and go light your world. Take your candle and go light your world. Frustrated brother, see how he's tried to light his own candle some other way. See now your sister, she's been robbed and lied to, still holds a candle without a flame. So carry your candle and run to the darkness. Seek out the lonely, the tired and worn, and hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle and go light your world. Take your candle and go light your world. Whose hearts are blazing, so let's raise our candles and light up the sky, praying to our Father in the name of Jesus.